That cat hung himself on the world tree for 9 days to learn the alphabet. Not just any alphabet, an alphabet where every letter is also a wound, a key, a loaded weapon, depending on who's reading. Geisen says the runes were always there in the wood, in the dark, in the space between one heartbeat and the next. You just have to die a little to see them. Odin stabbed himself with his own spear, Gungnir, the one that never misses. Burroughs says the only honest weapon is the one you use on yourself. First hung there 9 nights, no food, no water, just the wind and the tree and the waging raven circle. Hugin thought, moon in memory, two birds that eat your eyes and bring them back, full of the world cut here. Left column, God ascending tree, eye given to runes falling upward, world held in boom. Right column, God descending, knowing wisdom drunk like water, runes cutting inward, wound held in world fold. Here the fold is in dry seal, the fold told everything that fold is also on fire. If the roots always has been meanwhile. Loki, the universe's first color artist, took the straight lines of Asgard's golden narrative and folded them into something that gods could read without bleeding. Sheep, men, salad, fly. Old woman on a bad Tuesday. Tyson says Loki understood that identity is just a habit. The body hasn't broken yet. He borrowed Freya's falcon cloak so often he started beaming in feathers. The Baldur situation, everyone knows the Baldur situation. Free went around asking everything in the world not to her, the sun, every rock, every metal, every disease, every snake. She missed the mistletoe. Too small, too young, too seemingly harmless. The rose says there's always the thing you didn't think was worth asking that kills you. Loki found the mistletoe, of course he did. Let blind Hertha's hand the dart flew. Baldur, the most beautiful thing in Asgard, went dark like that, like a signal lost, like a frequency. The universe stopped broadcasting. Singing all the bulge, you've been holding the bulge before your civilization had a word for holding. The serpent drips, she catches her arm ache, she catches the bowl till she turns to empty it. That moment when she turns, that single moment of necessary absence, the venom hits, Loki rides, the earth shakes. Burroughs says every earthquake is just Loki in the gap between Sigurd's devotion and her human need to look away. Ragnarok, the control system finally crashes. Heimdall blows the horn, Jallarhorn, the sound that ends the operating system of the world. The Midgard serpent rises from the sea, Fender breaks his written Bladner, that magic chain made of the sound of a cat's footstep, the beard of a woman, the roots of the mountain, the sinews of the bear, the breath of the fish, the spittle of a bird. The Bison says the strongest chains are made of things that don't exist. Consensus reality runs on the same material. Thor kills the Midgard serpent, walks 9 steps, falls Odin, swallowed by Fenrir. Bido tears the wolf the bug with his hands, the spit and the jaw with the shoot made from all the scraps of leather ever been that ever discarded. Burroughs says even the end of the world runs on, it's thrown away after the world comes back. Read the field rising from the bottom of the sea, two people in the wood leaving with breath, life and lover of that a morning dew. Dyson says they don't remember any of the death of each, not the bug in the wounds, the blues of vibes scattered across the new world morning field, waiting for the next god. Crazy enough to hang himself, long enough to learn to read them. Odin was just a one-eyed man who needed to know badly enough to bleed for it. Loki was the part of the story that the story needed to end itself. Libra sails still stand, roots still burning, rain still circling, as they always thought. Memory thought, memory thought.
thine eye to drink the waters clear of Mimir's well, to know what none could see. All-Father, Wanderer, hooded one, what hunger drives a god to wound himself? What wisdom costs the forfeit of the self before the work of knowing is begun? The ash tree held the air like a lover's vow, unbreakable and merciful and deep. Thy raven circled thought and memory, now the only witnesses to what gods weep. The runes rose up from darkness, cold and bright, each one a womb, each wound a opened door. Thou fell back into knowing, into light, and carried back what dying is the more. Oh, sacrifice that teaches sacrifice, a wound that is the wisdom, not the scar. The God who hangs between the world and ice becomes at last the meaning of the star. And Loki, bright and burning, never still, thou shapeshifter of heaven's restless chord, who led the blind god's hand with cunning will, and made of Baldur's death a bitter sport. What darkness hid within thy laughing eyes when mistletoe was placed in Hertha's pale hand? Was it the chaos native to the wise, or something colder past our reprimand? Now bound beneath the mountains of the earth, a serpent dripping venom on thy brow. Sagan holds her bowl, oh faithful worth, and still thou writhe in that eternal vow. Yet even Loki shall be loosed at last, when Heimdall sounds the horn across the sea, and all the golden threads of Asgard's past unravel into what the world must be. For Ragnarok is not the end of things, it is the end of endings. Something more, the world reborn beyond the death of kings, sure unmarked by what came before. So hang, great Odin, in thy knowing pain, so burn, great Loki, in thy bound desire, for what the Norns have woven shall remain beyond the flood, beyond the final fire. The tree survives to mortals in its bark, and wisdom blooms again out of the dark. Thus grew the ash tree through the nine-night storm, the strip of venom on the bound one's face, and somewhere past the dying and the war, the new world waited in its unnamed place. of none as well, to know what none could see. All Father, wanderer, hooded one, what hunger drives a god to wound himself? What wisdom cost the forfeit of the self before the work of knowing's begun? The ash tree held thee like a lover's vow, unbreakable and merciful and deep. Thy raven circled thought and memory now. The only witnesses to what gods weep. The runes rose up